Did you see that? Did you see that? Wasn't that wonderful? Wasn't that creative? Wasn't that one of the most beautiful things that you could ever see as a kaiju addict, as a Godzilla fan, as an X Plus collector? So many words to describe that awesome image, but I know we don't have all day to go through it. And honestly, that's something that I thought I would never be able to achieve. But thanks to this box right here, mission accomplished.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? What? Yeah. Y'all ready to play some football? Just tap it. Big D. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know.
What's going on, people? LP2000 come back at you from the Monster Island Man Cave with another figure review. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a double figure review. It's the recently released X Plus Toho Large Monster Series, the Rip Boy set of Manda 1968 and Mothra 1968 from Destroy All Monsters. And this is the box with the silhouette of the creatures on the front. Manda here on the left, Mothra here on the right. This is a volume 1 set. There's going to be multiple sets, I believe. The second set is going to be a 25 centimeter 1968 Baragon and also mini flying Varan or whatever. But this is volume 1. I'm not even going to try to attempt to decipher what that means. I would think it would mean Toho Large Monster Series or the Destroy All Monsters. The Japanese language title of the film or whatever. Volume 1, like I said, Manda, Mothra, S Plus Garage Toy, with your legal jargon on the back. And that's pretty much it with the box. Very simplistic box. Not like the 30 centimeter with the incredible artwork or whatever. Just simplistic for what it is. So that's it with the box. So let's get on with the figures. Let's bring up Mothra first. There she is. And let's bring up Manda. Here we go. I'm going to try and get them both on the table here because they're both kind of long. So let's see how I can position this. Here we go. There you go. I'm going to do a close-up look on these figures in a few seconds. But yes, this is it. That's it. Wonderful figures. Let me give you a little backstory. First and foremost, let me say thank you to David Eric.co for allowing me to use his wonderful image of his Destroy All Monsters lineup that you saw in the beginning of the video. Also, I want to thank my brother from another mother out there in Arizona. Surprise, Arizona! EA, thank you for helping me out with this set, for getting this set. I really do appreciate it. But yes, let me do a little backstory on these figures. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, it wasn't really a goal for me to achieve what David Eric.co has done as far as like getting all the monsters from Destroy All Monsters together. Him and Samson West are the only people in the world, or at least in the kaiju collecting community, that were able to get a good majority of all the monsters from the film. Manda was a wild card. They did not release Manda from that movie or Mothra from that movie. To accomplish that, you had to use like a Manda from an Ultra Q type of figure. I'm not really sure, but that's what I think David did. I think he augmented like an Ultra Q Manda and painted it and augmented, make it look like this Manda. But this is the official Manda, and I wasn't going to get it at first because it wasn't really a goal for me to try to create a Destroy All Monsters lineup, even though I do have majority of the monsters. But once they announced this and I thought about it very hard, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get it, and I'm glad that I did. They both really are cool figures, and the detail is amazing, which I will showcase in a few seconds. Like I said, I'm glad I changed my mind about getting it. EA, he convinced me to get it, and I'm glad I did. My only gripe about this set, that this is a ripboard set, and you had to get it through the ripboard site. And I will cover my thoughts on that towards the tail end of the video. I'm not going to go through an extensive commentary about the film, how the figures relate to the film. I'm planning on doing a kaiju discussion about Destroy All Monsters with Gojira 851, so be on the lookout for that real soon. We're going to do a kaiju discussion about Destroy All Monsters, so I'm not going to go a lot into detail about how I feel about the film, but I will touch on the film a little bit just to tie in the figures with it. So just so sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy that. But yes, these are the figures. They both come with the Rocky base, because they're they're more upright, and with Mothra you have to have the base, otherwise she'll come down like this, and it doesn't really look right. So you have to prop her up like this. Sometimes she does slide off a little bit, but normally she does stay where she is. As far as Manda, with Manda, you don't really necessarily need a base. Kind of like the gigantic GMK back here. As far as the tail, you need a base because that monster or that figure came with the base, as well as the Sakai 1991 Godzilla. Sometimes you don't necessarily need it, but in my opinion, like I said before, it's better to have it and not need it than need to not have it. So you just slide the base underneath Manda's neck right here, and that's it. So yeah, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at these great figures, and yeah, let's see what all the great hype is about. Okay, here are the figures, Manda and Mothra. It probably gonna be a little short review because there's not really much to them, to be honest with you. I will have to say that out of two, I'm very, very impressed. You know what? I'm impressed with both of them because I'm a huge Mothra fan, at least maybe not a huge one, but I am a fan to a point where I like to have her with different setups. And one thing about this Mothra here is like she is great to go with other setups, which I would demonstrate in a couple seconds. But the detail on Mothra is very, very awesome. You have the brown all over her body, the red of her eyes here. She does have articulation in her mouth, her mandible here. I'm going to try and open it. See, there you go. See, it articulates, it opens and closes. Underbody, very, very nice, whatever. A little light shading of beige on the bottom of her body here. She has multiple bumps all over her body right here. Just the detail is amazing. Very, very nice. Yeah, very, 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 very cool. And she's a good size. She's like maybe 8 to 9 inches long or whatever, which will go well with the rest of the Destroy All Monsters lineup as well as other monsters. But like I said, I will get into that in a couple seconds. But here is Manda. Yes, this was the main selling point for me because I don't have a Manda in my collection, or I didn't before he arrived. So this was really the main selling point of why I wanted to have this set, because of Manda. And like I said, I have majority of the monsters from Destroy All Monsters, but the Manda was the only one that I was lacking. Now the only Manda out there besides the one that I told you about from the Ultra Q or whatever, unless you had a master, an artist master like David Eric.co and other, or Steve Serragioli, whatever, they were able to augment that figure to make it look like the 68 Manda. The only Manda that was available was the 1963 one from the movie Atragon, where he made his debut, and that was from the 30 centimeter line. And he didn't, and to me, it wouldn't look right with that Manda with the Destroy All Monsters lineup, because that Manda looked drastically different from this one. He was more gray. He had, I think, had more of a feline face. He had whiskers on it, whatever. So even though you may have had that Manda, it wouldn't look that appropriate with the Destroy All Monsters lineup. So I'm glad that they were able to bring this Manda to us. But the detail is great. Now, I've been looking over the Destroy All Monsters for the past couple of days. And I would say that their paint is spot on. Mind you, when we saw Manda, we didn't see Manda that much in Destroy All Monsters, but when we did see a good close-up of him was when him, Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan attacked Tokyo towards the beginning of the film, or at least the middle of the film. And I think he had a more of a darker shade in the film, but there are some scenes, at least one where he attacks the monorail train, he wraps himself around it, where he does have like a lot of shade, like this color scheme on the figure here. But it's nice with the aqua green all over his body here, with little splotches or spots of yellow all over his body. He doesn't have any articulation at all. The color on his claws here is very, 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 very nice. The face is very, very awesome too. The teeth is sculpted really well. Eyes, very, very nice, amazing. Yes, and just all over his body, they did a great job with the color and the paint scheme and everything. So, one thing about this figure, he is a shelf hog a little bit, but he's not that big as comparison to the 30 centimeter Manda. So you may have to, you can maybe work around it a little bit. But yeah, but like I said, you need these bases for the figures, more so Mothra than Manda. But like I said, it's better to have it, not needed than not have it. But yes, the detail on these guys are absolutely wonderful, great, awesome. So yeah, but that's pretty much it with the detail, the paint, and the sculpt or whatever. They both look amazing, really, really do. But let me do first with the size comparison. Let me get Manda out of the way. And one thing, like I mentioned about this Mothra, and one thing about Mothra, like I said, this is the 68 version, but she can also pass for the 1964 version that we're seeing in Ghidorah Three-Headed Monster. So, in honor of that, let me bring up his Ghidorah Three-Headed Monster co-stars. Rodan, hopefully he'll stay in place because he does have a tendency to come down on stuff. And, of course, Godzilla here. So, here we go right here. There we go. So yeah, there's your monster lineup of Ghidorah Three-Headed Monster. Ghidorah is somewhere else in that house. He's as a matter of fact, he's downstairs. Because when I do my next comparison of having all the Destroy All Monsters lined up together, I have to go down to the Kaiju kitchen on the big table to have all of them there. Cause I couldn't really do it up here. But yes, as you can see, very, very awesome with the Mothra. So even if you do get this set, and if you don't have all Destroy All Monsters, all the monsters from Destroy All Monsters, and if you have a Rodan or have a Godzilla 64, this is a diamond reissue Godzilla 64 or whatever, you can always put this Mothra with these two, and you have the monsters that repel King Ghidorah's attack in the original King Ghidorah film. So yeah, that's it. So, alright, that's it with the size comparison. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let me do something else right quick. Hold on one second. Okay, here's one more size comparison. This is one for the Manda. And this is a 30 centimeter diamond reissue Godzilla 1968. And I'm going to bring up Manda here. I'm going to try and put them together. Whatever. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see if I can try this. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. It may not be perfect, but here, this is a size comparison between the 30 centimeter 68 and the Manda. I did this because there's a deleted scene. I don't know if a lot of folks know about this, but there's a deleted scene for the Destroy All Monsters that didn't make the final cut, where actually Godzilla and Manda actually get into it. It's a brief scene, but like I said, it wasn't used for the final product of the film. What happened was, you can go on YouTube and try and find it, whatever. What happened was during the attack on Tokyo, when the four monsters, Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and Manda attacked Tokyo, during the course of the action, apparently Manda and Godzilla get into it. Godzilla sees Manda, and Manda sees Godzilla, and Godzilla wraps his hands around Manda and attempts to slam him or whatever. And that's when the scene cuts off. But it wasn't used for the final product of the film because obviously, if these monsters are under alien control, they wouldn't fight. They would be fighting against each other. So that's why the scene was thrown out. So I figured I'd do a size comparison just to enlighten some folks who didn't know about that fact about the deleted scene. So yeah, I think they look great together, especially with them tangling together like this. So, all right, let's go downstairs, finish off this review, and see what all the monsters from the Destroy All Monsters look like when they're all together. All right, let's go. Okay, folks, here we are. The entire Destroy All Monsters lineup. Let's see, is everybody here? Let's see, let's run them down. The King of the Monsters, Godzilla, his son Minya, Rodan, King Ghidorah, Varian, Kumonga, Baragon, Manda, Mothra, Gorosaurus, and Anguillus. And of course the Moonlight SY3 in the front. Yeah. Seeing all these figures together is very, 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 very cool. It's kind of a milestone as far as a collector for myself. Um, Mind you, all these figures are X Plus except for the Baragon. I don't have an X Plus Baragon, but to be perfectly honest, I'm fine with this Baragon. You know what I'm saying? Because since Baragon wasn't really shown that much in Destroy All Monsters, maybe just one or two scenes. But when we did see him, he was the four-legged version. Or if you saw in production photos, he was the upright version. So it just depends on what kind of Baragon you have. Either way, it don't matter what Baragon you have, or at least, or like the Varan, for example. This is a 1958 Varan from his debut movie. Mind you, as far as Baragon and Varan, they're going to be the second set in the Toho Monsters, Large Monsters series, like Manda and Mothra. But I'm going to pass on that set because I'm fine with the Baragon, and the Varan that they are putting with it don't really look right. He's like a smaller version of Varan, like the flying version, kind of like how he was in the film and in production photos as well. Mind you, this is not the same Rodan from the film. And perfectly honest, all the monsters from X Plus have been from Destroy All Monsters. Excuse me, all the monsters from Destroy All Monsters have been made by X Plus, with the exception of Rodan 68 and Kamanga 68. Kamanga didn't really look different as he did in the previous film, Son of Godzilla. He just had more reddish eyes. And of course, the Rodan was vastly different from this Rodan. But I've been seeing people online when it comes to this set, and people start posting pictures of their Destroy All Monsters lineup, saying that if you don't have the correct version of the monster, it may stand out if not looking right. I agree with that to a certain extent. For a Rodan, I think it looks fine. Besides, I prefer this Rodan anyway. I don't really like the 68 Rodan or whatever, but I think they look perfect. I think they look fine, and I'm glad that I was able to get these final two pieces of the puzzle to complete this milestone. So, before my thoughts of Destroy All Monsters, like I said, I will do an extensive kaiju discussion with Godzilla 851 in the near future, so I won't go into, like I normally do. I would like to say that it's one of the best Godzilla movies of all time. I enjoy the fact there are a lot of monsters in it. I just feel like sometimes there are times where you have to. With this movie, you kind of have to put logic out of the equation. But then again, logic in the Godzilla movie is it's not something that goes hand in hand in most cases. But in this movie, you just have to just enjoy it for what it is. You have to accept the fact that how is mankind able to bring all these monsters together, with the exception of King Ghidorah, all these monsters together on an island. You have to just not think about that too much. But the good majority of the monsters that were in the film, the last time we saw them, they were dead. Like Anguillus was burnt alive. Scorpius had a messed up jaw, a broken jaw, and got beat to death. Baragon had a broken neck. Varan had a self-explosion or implosion. Kamanga was burnt to death. The last time we saw Mothra, she was a caterpillar. Just don't think about it too much. But yes, I enjoy the film for what it is. It's nice to have all these monsters together. But while I praise Godzilla vs. Monster Zero as like the best alien invasion, uses monsters take over the world storyline, to me that's the best movie that used that storyline. Being this is the second film that came after that, I think it kind of gave a bad rap, or at least got dealt a bad hand, because I praise Godzilla vs. Monster Zero for the story, and I kind of criticize it. Not criticize it, but I just wish it had more monster action. With Destroy All Monsters, the exact opposite. I don't really care too much for the human alien story, but they deliver on the monster action. And that's the whole point of the film. When you finally see all the monsters together at the very end, that's the payoff. It really does pay off. I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan. There are times I don't like how he was utilized in the film. But it was something fun to see. It was something different to see how basically they just beat the life out of King Ghidorah, from Godzilla stomping on his head or his neck. You got Gorosaurus gnawing on his tails. You got Anguirus gnawing on the neck. They just basically mercilessly mercilessly beat the crap out of King Ghidorah, to the point where you actually felt sorry for King Ghidorah. And I think, for me personally, I think the film's biggest attribute was also its biggest flaw. It's the fact that you had all these monsters together in this film, and some monsters were going to be utilized well, and some weren't. You know, kind of like the Expendables Part Two. Anybody familiar with that film? For me, when I saw that film, I was really excited because Jet Li in the Expendables films is the film star that I was more anxious to see. But in Expendables Part 2, you only saw him like kick butt for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the film. Then we don't see him no more until at all. Actually, we don't see him at all for the rest of the film. Destroying Monsters kind of does the same way. Like if you're a Varan fan, I'm sure you would be disappointed. Baragon, you would be disappointed. I understand with Baragon because I read online, or at least done some research on that. The suit, which was used for various different monsters for the Ultraman series at the time, or at least a couple years afterwards, the suit was in such bad disarray that they couldn't get it together in time for the majority of the production, which is why we only saw him at the tail end, and what we did see him was more of a puppet. But all those problems aside, like I said, I think the biggest attribute with the film is the fact that it has so many monsters, but its biggest flaw because it has so many monsters that some monsters are going to get shortchanged or whatever, and they kind of focus too much on the human alien story, which really is kind of a step down for Monster Zero. So that's my opinion on that. I don't really care too much for the Fire Dragon storyline. I think that would have been better to use that extra time to devote some of the monsters that didn't get shown that much. And the film runs at an hour and 88 minutes. Originally, it's supposed to be the last Godzilla film. The reason why I don't put it in my top 10 because I like the premise of destroying monsters, them being on an island or whatever, and them being dispatched to destroy various cities around the world. I enjoy that storyline, but for me, if this would have been the last Godzilla film with no 70s films, no Heisei, no Millennium, I think it would have been a disappointment. There are a couple 70s films that I view higher than this film, which shows just because you have a whole bunch of monsters in the film doesn't mean that it's going to be the best film of all time. It's just how you use them, which is what makes it great. But the music score from Akira Ifukube, the fact that Eiji Tsuburaya, Tomoyuki Tanaka, Inoshiro Honda, the originators that brought the franchise together in the first place, were here before Mr. Tsuburaya passed away a year later. The fact that they all came together and did this film really makes it stand out. It's one of the best Godzilla films of all time. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that views this as their favorite film or whatever, but I do have some gripes with it on why it's not in my top 10. But it's still one of the best Godzilla films nonetheless. But that's my take on Destroy All Monsters, which I will go into detail in a future college discussion. But yeah, I'm happy that I have all these monsters together. So, as far as the availability of the set, like I said, it was a Rip Boy set. That was also another gripe with X Plus. You know, I'm a huge X Plus supporter, you know that. But I feel that maybe they should have brought this to the main market where Ami, Hobby Search, and Hobby Link Japan could have sold this. But this was a Rip Boy exclusive, meaning that you had to know somebody who could navigate through the site, which can be hard, which is easy for some, but can be hard for some people also. So not everybody was able to get it. Plus, I think they only produced like a certain amount of quantities, for these Rick Boy exclusives. But it would have been better for me, in my opinion, if they would have released them to the main public, released them to a good majority of the retailers. Because I'm sure a lot of people would have snatched it up, especially for Manda. You know what I'm saying? That way people could be on the road to create a Destroy All Monsters lineup if that's what they want to do. But since it was a Rick Boy exclusive, you had to know somebody that was able to navigate to the Rick Boy site, or know somebody in Japan that was able to get it for you, whatever. There are ways to get it, but sometimes it's more strenuous to go to the Rick Boy site or get Rick Boys versus getting regular standards from Ami or whatever. So that's my main gripe with it. But I think it's worth the investment. I really, really do. So hopefully you can track one down before they get too high up in price. I highly suggest you do so. Even if you don't have a Destroy All Monsters lineup yet, like I mentioned, with Mothra, you can put that with Godzilla 64 and Rodan 64 and have it set up right there. along with King Ghidorah. Even though it's not the same King Ghidorah from the film, but if you put them all together, it looks really, really good. So I highly recommend this set if you can find one. So yeah, that concludes my review of the X Plus Toho Large Monster Series set of Manda 1968 and Mothra 1968 Ripboard set. If you have any questions, holler me down in the comment section. We'll go from there, or hit me up on Facebook via Mark Calloway. We go from there. Also check out kaijuedits.com. Check out Sci-Fi Labyrinth, the Godzilla Collectors Facebook group, the X Plus Collectors Facebook group, and Toho Kaiju Union. So yeah, I'm happy. I really am. Once again, thank you, DavidEric.co, for the use of your awesome still picture of your lineup. And thank you, EA out in Arizona. I love you, man. Thank you for hooking me up with this set. I really do appreciate it. And I thank y'all for watching. And I will see y'all again on the next figure and move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.